Next is Temple University head coach Matt Rhule. The Owls are 1-10 overall, 0-7 in the American Athletic Conference. Temple was in action this past Saturday against UConn. UConn won the game 28-24. This week, Temple is at Memphis for a noon Eastern Time start on ESPN News. Coach, thanks for joining us on the call this week. If you could take a minute to tie up the game against UConn, and then tell us what you look forward to as you make the trip to Memphis, please.
Well, obviously we're disappointed about last Saturday to take a 21-0 lead in halftime and then not to find a way to win the football game was frustrating for us. So as we move forward now, we're continuing to try to focus on learning how to win and finishing the game. It's been 5 straight weeks that we've had the lead or been tied going into the fourth quarter. We've only won one of those 5 games. So, we're focusing this week on finishing the game, finishing every rep, finishing every drive, and hoping that'll allow us to finish with a win this Saturday. With that, I'll see if you guys have any questions.
Questions for Coach Rhule, please. Hit *1 on your telephone to join the queue, and then the operator will introduce you.
We'll go to Chris Franklin with Coach and Player Magazine.
Hey, Coach. Quarterback Abdul Smith said this after the game, that some of the guys have the killer instinct and some of the guys do not. And also he said that the play calling for the defense was a little safe towards the end. I wonder if you would agree with his assessment, and what would you say that Temple has to do to get better at that?
I think his assessment about us, I'd say his assessment about us, some guys having the killer instinct and some guys not. That's probably a pretty true statement until you prove otherwise. That is what you are. In terms of the defensive play calling, I thought we were as aggressive as we always are. I think we held them to 230 yards of offense. We lost that game because our offense really couldn't move the football in the second half, and we gave them the ball to 53 times, and defensive penalties. We stopped them on 4th and goal, and it was a defensive pass interference. We had 2 hands to the face, so it was just really a matter of defensive penalties and then offensive ineptitude in the second half.
And finally, besides the win, what will you be looking for to see an improvement with your team this week coming up against Memphis?
I want us to finish in the fourth quarter. As I told the team and told the coaches, to have the lead 5 times going into the fourth quarter and not being able to finish it. I mean, it's really unheard of, and so it shows you exactly what you have to improve upon. We have to find a way to finish the fourth quarter. We were up 28-7 at SMU. We were up 21-0 this past week. So to give up those, to go in with large halftime leads and not be able to finish it, that's clearly where our focus has to be.
Thank you very much.
We'll go next to Phil Stiegenberg with the Memphis Commercial Appeal newspaper. Your line is open. You may be on mute. At this time, there's no response. We'll go next to Bob Morrison with 24/7 Sports.
Coach, I'd like to talk about what your expectations are with the recruiting class. How many players you expect to bring in at mid-year? How many you expect to bring in February? And could you give us an updated status of Jabba Lee?
Jabba Lee, is that what you said, Bob?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He had his ACL repaired when he got here, and he's making outstanding progress. You can see he's got one of those bodies that just kind of regenerates. He's walking around. He's in rehab, and I expect him to be healthy. Not obviously for the spring, but for the fall, we expect him to be back. With regards to the recruiting class, I would like to bring in, probably 5 or 6 kids at mid-year to enable us to get going in the spring, and then the rest of the class to be signed in February.
Now, you've talked about the process. Is there any parallels between your first year here when Al had a very dismal first season and what's going on this season, or is that just throwing at straws?
I mean, obviously the record's similar. The difference is that we were just out of so many games that year. This to me feels like the record doesn't reflect it, but the 5-7 year where we lost on the last play of the Hail Mary at Buffalo. We lost on the last play, and we had a 27-7 lead or whatever it was against Navy, and fumbled on the last play and lost that game. And when we lost to UConn 12-9, and all those games that season. It was really then that the players were kind of hooked into the way we did it, and they said, okay, we better start doing every little thing right, or we will continue to lose these games. And then the next year, I felt like we made a real jump, and that's it's just so unusual to have the record we have, and to really only not be in the game in the fourth quarter in 3 games. I mean, even, as I said, 5 times now we've had the lead or been tied going into the fourth quarter, and the other 2, it was 15-13 at Houston. And we were down by 10 to Fordham. We came back and took the lead. And at Idaho, we were down by, I think it was 4 or 6. And I came back and made that a 26-24 game. So we've been really close. The key is to get the win and to make that next step. And for us at Temple, that happened after year 3.
All right, well, thank you. I hope you and your family have a great Thanksgiving.
Thanks, Bob. I appreciate it. Great to hear from you.
We'll go next to Phil Stukenborg with the Memphis Commercial Appeal newspaper.
I was going to ask you just a little bit about the play of P.J. Walker over the course of the past month, just kind of the strides he has made.
Yeah, PJ's gotten better and better. He's had some outstanding outings. To be quite honest, he's coming off probably his worst performance. In the second half of that that football game on Saturday, and I think it's one that he's going to learn from. He's an outstanding talent. He really likes football. He studies it. He works hard at it. He's got the ability to be elusive, and he can throw the football as well. So, he'll have to rebound from last week and to play a great game against a tremendous Memphis defense.
That's the other question. What is it that impresses you, I guess, about the Memphis defense? I know they've kind of been ranked consistently in the top 20 throughout the year.
Well, I think they're well put together. They're well organized scheme-wise. And everything fits, and they have an answer for everything you do. And really, the second thing is they have a bunch of playmakers. They have a bunch of guys that, even if they're a little out of position, are going to get right back into position and make a play. And that's really what defense is about. It's about being organized and structured, and then it's about having playmakers. And I think that Memphis's defense certainly has both.
All right. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir.
And do we have any other questions for Coach Rhule, please? And Coach, well, thank you for the time, both this week, also for the season. Oh, I'm sorry, we do have a question come in before I let you off the hook that easily. We do have one question, just if you would. Thanks.
We'll go next to Nick Mintai with Comcast Sports Philadelphia.
Hey, Matt, sorry to keep you a little longer.
No problem, buddy. What's up?
How are you?
Good, great, good, thank you.
Can you just give an update on the injury situations after Saturday night's game to Jalen and Chris Parkmore?
Yeah, Jalen, I think will be. He does have a little fracture in the hand. I think he'll be out this week. I think Chris Parkmore will be out this week as well. Nate Harrison, I think, will continue to be out. Deion Miller will continue to be out. So, our wide receiver depth is a little bit thin.
Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Okay, now.
All right, Coach, now we'll let you off the hook. Thank you for your time again this week, and also, whereas this is the final regular season game for you of the season, thank you for your participation all year. Certainly more than welcome to join us next week, but for those schools whose season are complete, we don't certainly wouldn't ask you to. So thank you for your participation, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Sure. Thanks, guys. You as well.
All right.